Well, folks, I did it again. Yeah, I forgot to turn on the camera, and went and turned this entire bowl and went, well, crap. Um, yeah, they probably wanted to see me do that. Oh, don't worry. Yes, I even turned another simple bowl out of pine since I was working on this. Now, all these globs you're seeing on here are the epoxy that I put on here to fill the gaps. I'm going to throw this bowl back on the lathe and trim the epoxy down and then do a final sanding on the bowl. I had gaps in the glue up here, there, and everywhere. So anyways, this epoxy is essentially dry. It's been drying for several hours, and it's 5-minute epoxy, so shouldn't be too bad. Now this big old gap that was right here, that's completely filled, so at least now I know the integrity of the bowl is fine. I'm amazed with all the gaps in the glue up that this thing did not come apart on me on the lathe, considering the many layers and many different pieces that are glued together for this thing. So I will set up the camera when I put it back on the lathe and trim the epoxy off. Bear with me, guys, and be right back. Back out here on the lathe, and like I said, I'm going to chuck this up, carve off all of the epoxy that I used to fill the gaps in my questionable glue job of when I glued all these pieces together. So, and nothing fancy. I was going to film actually turning the bowl on the lathe, but as usual, like I said earlier, I tend to repeat myself a lot. Yes, I forgot to turn the camera on. Finally got myself a carbide turning tool. This is a tiny little carbide tool made by Easy Wood Tools, and it's part of their beginner carbide set. They have this rounding bit, they have a square bit, and then they for roughing, and then they have a detailing tool. I'll get the other two eventually, because this is such a small lathe that I really don't need the huge 3-foot turning tools that a lot of the professionals use that do the massive bowls, where I just can do little ones. So anyways, as I over-explained, as usual, oh, and this is another thing. This lathe, I've probably mentioned it in other videos, but this lathe is from the 1930s. There's no quick release handles to move the tool rest around or the tailstock or what have you. No. No, you do it the old-fashioned way. You grab a wrench and you do it your damn self. Now, I may be in the way of the shot for some of this, but there's really nowhere to put the camera that I don't get it in the way quite a bit. Or in the way of me turning, and then not that safe. So, pull out the spindle lock. Make sure the tool rest won't go anywhere. Well, like I've mentioned before, I'm mainly a scroll sawyer, so lathe work is new to me, so I'm obviously going to make some mistakes, guys, so be kind. I'd appreciate it. I got most of it, but that left a really rough surface on the edge there, so I'm going to have to take a couple of skim cuts and smooth that out. So Yeah, that shaved off the excess epoxy that I had on there just fine. So I'm going to have to do a nice sanding job on that. So now I'm going to flip the tool rest around and shave off all this epoxy on the backside. One more skim cut to make things happy. Alright, so that's that. That's a much better finish than I was hoping for, so that'll sand nicely. Now I gotta go through the rigmarole of turning this all around again. Alright then, skim cut time. Alright, let's see. Oh yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy. That epoxy filled all the openings perfectly. Beautiful. So, at this point, sand it up, make it happy, put a finish on it, and it's good. And I know I've said this 100 times, but I will eventually make a full turning video for you guys when I can remember to turn the bleeping camera on. It's still a little rough, but I'm not going to bore you guys with the sanding. I'm going to get this done, and then I'll show you what I'm going to put the finish on. Going with the little Minwax wipe-on poly. Read the instructions, and hopefully I'm doing this right. We shall very quickly find out. Normally, for a finish, I spray on some clear lacquer and call it good. But I want to try something a little different this time. Well, I'll be schnookered. This looks frickin' fantastic. I like this stuff. Of course, I wonder, does it look as good when it dries? If it does, my crazy idea isn't going to be so damn crazy, is it? Next, as I'm doing all of this off camera. Wow, does that make that oak pop? I'm kind of shocked by that. Right on. Boy, that wood just sucks this stuff up, though. Holy crap. And there you have it, guys. One long, drawn-out, very small, as you can see from the size of my hand, glue-up dish, candle holder, whatever you want to call it. Solid walnut base. Oak and walnut stair pattern top. I have 2 coats of wipe-on poly on it. I'm going to let that dry for a little while. Let the wood soak it up and call it good. As always, guys, more to come.